To understand Pennywise, you have to think of time not as a line, but as a circle that keeps looping back on itself. Pennywise doesn't exist the way humans do. There is no birthday, no childhood, and no origin story involving a mother or a home planet. Pennywise is more like a cosmic accident, or maybe a cosmic predator, that existed long before the Earth was even formed. The straightest way to explain this is to tell the story as it unfolds across time, from the beginning of everything to Pennywise's final defeat, pointing out the breadcrumbs that Stephen King scattered across his books and adaptations. Before the universe we know came into existence, there was the Macroverse, a giant, abstract space outside normal reality. This is where beings like Maturin the turtle and Pennywise come from. Maturin is wise and calm, a being who watches existence. Pennywise, on the other hand, is a creature of consumption, not evil in the human sense, just a being whose natural purpose is to feed. You might think of a shark in the ocean. A shark isn't morally evil, but it is a predator that exists to kill and eat. In the same way, Pennywise is a predator that feeds on fear. That's the earliest breadcrumb in Pennywise's timeline. Even before arriving on Earth, the creature already had the instinct to hunt fear. Its entire existence is linked to the emotion of terror. It doesn't need food the way humans do. It needs emotional energy, specifically fear mixed with imagination. The more terrified the mind, especially a child's mind, the richer the meal. That's why Pennywise eventually chooses the clown form. But we're getting ahead of the timeline. Millions of years ago, long before humans walked the Earth, a fireball cut across the sky and crashed into what would one day become the town of Derry, Maine. To the primitive Earth, it looked like a meteor. But according to Stephen King's lore, this was Pennywise arriving in what King calls a, quote, landing. The creature didn't have a physical shape as we know it. It crashed into Earth in a biological form, almost like a cosmic egg, and buried itself deep beneath the ground. That landing site eventually becomes the location where Derry is built. This is the next breadcrumb. Pennywise didn't come to Derry because it was special. Derry became special because Pennywise was already there. For ages, the creature sleeps. Dinosaurs rise and fall. Ice ages come and go. Human tribes eventually wander near the area. When the first humans settled around that region thousands of years ago, the creature sensed it. Humans carry fear, imagination, and emotions. The perfect food. Small hints of the awakening start showing up. Animals vanish, people see strange shapes in the woods, and some even report strange flickering lights underground, which later become known as the deadlights, the true form of Pennywise. That's the breadcrumb that most people miss. The deadlights aren't just Pennywise's power, they are Pennywise's real self. The clown, the spider, the voices, all are disguises. The deadlights are the creature behind everything. But Pennywise doesn't fully awaken until the early 1700s, when European settlers arrive. More humans mean more emotional energy, more fear, and more opportunity to hunt. When the settlers build crude shelters and start families, the creature rises from its long hibernation. Pennywise begins testing forms. Sometimes it appears as shadows, sometimes as beasts or ghostly figures. Eventually, it discovers the shape that produces the strongest and most potent fear in children. A clown. This is where the timeline becomes clear. Pennywise learns that children not only scare more easily, but their fear is imaginative. Children believe what they see. Adults rationalize. Pennywise needs belief and terror mixed together, so children give it the richest meal possible. The clown form is playful, disarming, colorful, and familiar, making it the perfect lure. Pennywise becomes Pennywise the dancing clown, a smiling mask hiding a cosmic monster. From here, Pennywise develops its signature cycle. Roughly every 27 to 30 years, it awakens, feeds, and then returns to hibernation. It's not random. Pennywise needs time to digest the emotional energy. Once starved, it awakens again. The awakening is always marked by escalating negativity in Derry. Violence rises, child disappearances increase, and the entire town seems to turn cold and indifferent. Here's the key breadcrumb. Pennywise doesn't just feed on fear, it influences the town itself. Derry becomes a place where evil feels normal, cruelty is ignored, and tragedies are quietly swept under the rug. Adults look away because Pennywise has a psychological hold on the community. The creature doesn't mind control them like a hypnotist. Instead, it nudges their emotions, amplifies their apathy, and dulls their awareness. Adults, in Pennywise's timeline, are the first victims because their denial helps Pennywise stay hidden. As Derry grows throughout the 1800s, the town unknowingly constructs sewer systems directly on top of Pennywise's resting place. This is one of the most important breadcrumbs in the entire timeline. Derry's infrastructure accidentally becomes the perfect hunting system. The sewers give Pennywise tunnels to move through, places to hide, and ways to drag victims into darkness without being seen. Pennywise doesn't just hide in the sewers, it uses them like veins in its own body. Throughout the 1800s and early 1900s, the timeline becomes bloody. Whole families disappear, massacres occur, factories explode, fires sweep through the town. Yet the town always finds a way to explain it or pretend it didn't happen. Each of these events contains at least one child who vanishes under strange circumstances, a breadcrumb showing Pennywise fed during the tragedy. The Kitchener Ironworks explosion, the Bradley Gang massacre, and the Black Spot fire are all examples of this pattern. Every time Pennywise wakes, the town suffers. And every cycle features a signature victim that stands out from the broader tragedy, usually a child with a strong imagination. These small details tie each timeline event into Pennywise's feeding pattern. Then the timeline reaches 1958, when the Losers Club enters the story. These children, Bill, Bev, Stanley, Eddie, Ben, Mike, and Richie, are the first group in history to openly confront Pennywise. What makes them unusual is that their bond as outsiders gives them a shared strength. Instead of collapsing into fear, they band together and learn Pennywise's biggest weakness. It needs belief. Pennywise uses fear to shape reality. But if someone stops believing in the illusion, Pennywise becomes weaker. This is one of the most important breadcrumbs in the timeline. In 1958, the Losers hurt Pennywise enough to force it into early hibernation. But they don't destroy it. No one ever has. Pennywise escapes deeper into the deadlights, leaving behind a damaged physical form. The Losers grow up and leave town. And just like all adults, they forget. Derry erases memories because memory is a threat to Pennywise. If you remember the truth, you're harder to manipulate. Forgetting keeps you vulnerable. 27 years later, in 1985, the pattern returns. Pennywise awakens again, hungrier and angrier than ever. The deaths begin again, and Mike Hanlon, the only loser who stayed in Derry, calls the group back. The others slowly recover their memories. Pennywise tries to break them mentally before it kills them physically. It knows that adults don't scare as easily, so it forces them to relive their childhood traumas. There is another important breadcrumb here. Pennywise has always been able to manipulate reality, but only through fear. It cannot create something out of nothing. Instead, it twists the victim's imagination into weapons. That's why Pennywise tailors its attacks to each person's personal trauma. When the Losers return to the sewers in 1985, they learn the final truth of the timeline. Pennywise's clown form is just a disguise. Its spider form is just another disguise. Its true nature is something beyond human understanding, the deadlights. A swirling mass of ancient cosmic energy that destroys the mind of anyone who looks directly into it. The Losers realize that physical attacks alone cannot defeat this creature. The only way is through psychological resistance, reducing it by denying it the belief it needs to manifest its power. When they confront Pennywise and refuse to fear it, the creature collapses, it shrinks, it becomes small, and they destroy its physical vessel once and for all. But even after the clown and the spider form die, Stephen King leaves a chilling breadcrumb. The deadlights fade, but they do not die. Pennywise's essence existed before Earth, and something like that doesn't fully disappear. The creature is gone for now, but the idea of it, the echo of it, lingers in the deeper folds of the universe. This is why adaptations like Welcome to Derry can still explore the creature's influence. Pennywise is not simply a monster that dies at the end of a story. Pennywise is a pattern. Pennywise is an event. Pennywise is a phenomenon that returns whenever belief, fear, and emotional darkness reach the right level inside a community. The cycle can start again under the right conditions. The final and most overlooked breadcrumb is this. Pennywise didn't simply infest Derry. Pennywise shaped the identity of the town. The violence, the cruelty, the silence, the collective denial, all of it feeds back into Pennywise's power. Derry itself becomes a partner in the cycle. A town built on trauma, constantly forgetting and repeating the same dark history, is the perfect incubator for a creature like Pennywise. So who is Pennywise? A cosmic predator older than the Earth. A being that feeds on fear. A shapeshifter that uses imagination as a weapon. A monster that wakes every 27 years. A creature that manipulates an entire town without needing to speak to any adult. A force that survives as long as there is fear to consume. A presence that never truly dies because it was never truly alive in the human sense. That is the straight, clear timeline. A full theory that connects every appearance, every feeding cycle, every clue, and every breadcrumb Stephen King scattered across decades. A creature that didn't come to Derry by accident. A creature that slowly shaped the town around itself. A creature that sleeps, wakes, feeds, and repeats. A creature that turns imagination into terror, and terror into food. And a creature whose true form is the deadlights. A reminder that behind every mask, every illusion, every nightmare, there is something far older watching. If you want the same style for Maturin the Turtle, the Deadlights, Pennywise's Weakness, or a timeline focused on Derry itself,